welcome to the latest webinar in the Elemental Talks programme for 2022.
There's lots and lots of figures quoted for what may be needed by 2030. We've gone for a figure of about 300,000 public charge points. For public charging, we know there's work to do to make sure it's as easy as it should be for people to find those charge points, that they work when you get there, that you know how much it will cost, and you can use any one. You don't have to wait 2 weeks to sign up to something to be able to use that charge point.
In terms of where we are at the moment, the top line figures are that we have roughly almost 35,000 devices, so charge point sort of units, if you like, across around 22,000 locations across the UK, which is great. And that's up about 35% from this time last year. So the charge point network is rolling out at quite a pace alongside the growth in EV drivers.
First, rose-tinted spectacles on then. Alex, your business in an emerging sector, as you described earlier, growth potential, paint us a dynamic picture of that market opportunity and what can you hope to do in this space as things move forward?
I think it's an emerging technology, and we have a mantra around being ethically responsible and delivering a customer-centric service. So we're always striving to look for the latest and greatest technology advancements, the latest and greatest roaming opportunities, to furthering the opportunity for customers to experience the best possible charging experience. So the development of auto charge, or ISO 15118, so that you can just plug and charge, linking in with as many different charge point operators as we can in the UK to have that seamless experience. Technologies like the ones being developed at ZapMap by Melanie and her team. We've just gone on to ZapPay, so that there's an opportunity for an aggregator platform to bring together a number of CPOs, so you don't have to have 15, 20 RFID cards and apps in your phone. We're looking to focus on listening to the publics, listening to where chargers need to go. I think Shamala was talking about that as well, making sure that you've got the right charging infrastructure in the right location. One of the areas that we are looking to push commercial landowners into is to not deploy too many chargers, but get the balance right. What we don't want is stranded assets, which is a carbon footprint own goal, really. We're looking to get the right number of chargers, the right speed of service, but also to popularize locations by bringing the footfall of EV drivers to those locations with the right type of charging infrastructure to promote the flourishment of the environment where the chargers are. So there's a number of different types of locations. I think we talked about the behaviors and the changing landscape, and consumers getting their head around that you don't just have to go to one specific location to refuel. You can top up here, you can fully refuel there, you can do most of your charging overnight. So there's going to be a revolutionized landscape of different charging technologies that suit multiple different purposes. But I think the utopia that we're looking towards is working towards greater renewable energy generation locally, and maybe introducing time of use tariffs so that on a sunny day we can drive and generate more people to charge at a specific time for a cheaper rate, and bringing in these real-time dynamic opportunities to maximize our sustainability opportunity. And I think that's where we really need to get to. Our parent company is the biggest renewables generator in Europe, and we're looking to provide a network that can distribute genuinely renewable energy. And I think that is where we ought to be striving towards. It's not about just deploying the technology. It's around ethical responsibility, getting the right technology, the right customer service, making sure that it's reliable, it works, it's a brilliant experience, and that it's truly sustainable. And that's across fleets as well as passenger vehicles. And that is where we should be headed, and that's certainly where we're headed.
See, as a local authority, I think it is very important that we are inclusive. So we're not just look at integration of EV charging infrastructure. It is, again, as a local authority, but as a highway authority, we are also looking to make sure that there are behavior changes made. So one of the things is to reduce car ownership. So looking at providing things like electric car clubs, multimodal hubs. So every 10-minute walking distance, create these small micromobility hubs, where you have a choice of different clean modes of travel.
So what is success going to look like for this charge point rollout, Melanie?
So by 2030, according to most forecasts, we will have 10 million electric cars on the UK roads out of around 30 million cars. So that's 1 in 3 cars will have a plug. So we'll have a very different world. So first of all, at home, of those 60% or so of people who are lucky enough to be able to charge at home, I see electric cars very much as a gateway drug to all sorts of other technologies. So I see people having home charging, linking it to the solar panel, linking it to the ground source heat pump, having battery storage, and really starting to have that real energy system working with the electric car at the core, and charging off peak in terms of actually helping rebalance the grid. So I think that's a really important thing. In terms of those who don't have off-street parking, I see them sharing, having a lot of community charging with those who do. I see there being rollout of on-street chargers across most major cities, and local charging hubs put in place. Then en route charging, I see beautiful all-purpose ultra rapid charging hubs with different facilities for people to do, whether that's working or things for the children or retail. Payment will not be an issue, because as Alex said, there will be a single way to pay, whether that's plug and charge or sort of through various aggregated systems. So I see a really positive future for charging across the UK. And also, I think as you drive up to one of your ultra rapid hubs, you'll get a message on your phone saying, would you like, if you charge on my network, you might get a free coffee, and then someone else give you an offer to do something else. So there's all sorts of exciting things that will happen once we get to 2030.
So if you do then have to sell it with the 3 big reasons why building and landowners should be making the decisions, what would they be? Give us the elevator pitch then, Alex.
I'm going to take it from the perspective of a commercial landowner, because that's my best perspective, and then I can categorize it so that it doesn't get too diverse. So I think the first one is, we touched on it right at the very intro. If you look at SMMT data, 15% of all new vehicles last month were full battery electric vehicles. The transition is happening right now, and it's exploding. And it's only 15% because of the lack of availability of vehicles, because there's restrictions on manufacturing. It would be a great deal higher. If you look at the order book, it is ridiculous by comparison. So I think some people are pushing it into the distance and saying the market's not ready yet. That's one. If you then take into consideration the length of time that it takes to energize a hub, for example, if we're looking at a high voltage connection with all of the legal and panel restrictions, availability of hardware, time that it takes to do the construction piece, you're probably looking at 12 to 18 months from now, from concept to energization. So bearing in mind the market's exploding today, in a year and a half's time, if you haven't started yet, it will be buoyant. Looking at that, you've also got to give consideration, there is not an infinite supply of power. Have a look at what's available around you today. Do that grid investigation work and put at least the bare minimum of what's available to you in place to start establishing those behaviors of attracting EV drivers to your location and setting that pattern. And I think then, I've touched on it already. The other one is you're missing out on an opportunity for income stream if you don't do that. Not only for you, in terms of a charge point operator will pay you a strong commercial offer because it's a competitive landscape to develop on your landscape to provide this infrastructure. But also, there's an incidental spend for the tenants that you have on site and generating footfall to rejuvenate retail spend. So those are probably the top 3. It's happening now.